The temple room is crowded with visitors. We recognize many of them, our friends and acquaintances who, like us, have left their sleeping bodies at home. Then there are others we knew long ago here on earth, but they have shed their physical bodies and are now in training, preparing to come back into birth in the new age. We all bathe in the light of the flame, just as Jesus and Mary did 2,000 years ago. We try to absorb its radiance into our subtle bodies. We try to clear our vision, to purify our bodies, so that tomorrow we can remember. The disembodied ones, with their subtle etheric brains, will find it easier to remember when tomorrow comes. But will they remember this sublime purity and clarity of existence when they have once again taken a physical earth body? That is their problem, their training task. Tomorrow, when we awaken at home in our physical body, buoyant and refreshed by our visit to Luxor, we can at least make use of the ascension flame in a practical way, even though we do not remember anything about our travels. The more we can use the flame in our homes and in our daily work, the more familiar it will become. The easier will it be to visualize. More and more of its radiance will penetrate our aura, clearing away all the debris and delusions, all the diabolical accumulations that have weighed us down since the laggards came to the earth. We can always use it in a practical way by visualizing it sweeping through and through our four lower bodies, physical, etheric, emotional, and mental. By visualizing it sweeping through and through our homes, our furniture, our clothes, purifying everything. The underground temple at Luxor has been there for hundreds of years, but there is not ever a speck of dust anywhere, and no one has to clean anything. The whole place is constantly bathed in the flame, and where the flame of purity penetrates, all imperfections are dissolved. Serapis Bey wants us to use the flame for all sorts of mechanical things, such as tuning a piano or tuning up a motor. We eventually have to learn to operate everything on this earth by drawing the energies of the rays into service. That is how everything was accomplished in the laborless days before the laggards came. Those were the days of genuine God abundance, when all necessities were drawn directly from the atmosphere by invocation. There was no economic system or money exchange of any kind, for the people used whatever cosmic ray power they needed, and then gave thanks to the Creator for providing His children with His own omnipresent energy. After the laggards had contaminated the earth's atmosphere with their emanations of selfishness and rebellion, negatively refusing to trust in the God power of the flames, their self-generated poison spread around the earth and formed a thick blanket of a murky gray sticky substance, which to this day still clings to every object, even to individual atoms. It also penetrates within the shell of the atom and clogs the space between the electrons, thereby slowing down the revolution of both electrons and atom. This in turn affects the tempo of livingness of everything on the globe, minerals, vegetable, and animal bodies. Before the laggards came, human brain tissue was sunshine yellow in color, the color of the golden light of illumination. After the laggards infected the atmosphere with their emotional frenzies of hatred, resentment, and spite, the beautiful yellow brain tissue became contaminated with the astral debris, and gradually, down through the centuries, as the clogged atoms revolved more and more slowly, human perception became dulled, and the brain tissue itself took on the murky gray color of astral Maya. Today people pridefully boast of their gray matter, certainly a condition of which no mortal need be proud. As human brain tissue became more and more clogged, it lost all normal sensitivity and would no longer register the higher vibration or respond to sights and sounds. from the subtle etheric worlds, which interpenetrate the physical. Remember that the early root races had magnetized and anchored subtle matter within the physical, thus spiritualizing the very soil of the planet and raising the vibrations of sticks and stones, meadows and streams, trees and flowers. These first people could see and hear on all planes, and for them there was no barrier between the tangible and intangible. But after the laggards came out, all that sensitivity was gradually lost. As the brain tissue slowly turned from yellow to gray, we all became infected people, and we lost even the memory of our source, the memory of those days of divine glory, when we first emerged as white fire beings and individualized as twin rays, sparks of flashing splendor in our robes of light, glowing with the heart love of Alpha and Omega. Once the memory of our source was gone, our capacity to register other subtle contacts vanished. We became helpless, embrooded, degenerate, for we had no inherent knowledge of how to accomplish anything without the aid of the Father within, and we could not remember how to invoke His aid. It was then that the Cosmic Council assembled and decided to dissolve the planet. It was then that Sanat Kumara, in his wonderful, magnificent gesture of godly sacrifice, volunteered to come to the earth to help us and guide us and teach us, and to stay with his self-appointed task until the last weary pilgrim had found his way home. Sanat Kumara could not overrule our free will and set us back immediately upon the path. It was by misusing our free will and turning our backs on the perfection of the Father that we had plunged ourselves into this evolutionary morass. Therefore, we had to learn to use our free will correctly. That is, we had to learn to make a correct choice through trial and error methods. Sanat Kumara could have told us which was right and which was wrong, and we could have followed him like blind sheep, but that would have made us into robots. Adepts never use such methods in even the smallest instances, for well they know that dictatorship robs people of any opportunities to exert their own strength to extricate themselves from a difficulty. Yet if we look around us today, it can well be seen that much of the karma which lay so heavily upon us in ancient Lemuria is still with us. Some of the simplest lessons we have not learned. We have failed to profit by many of Sanat Kumara's simple examples. The whole world writhes in agony and responds to vibrations of pain, leading to further pain. Despite what we like to term modern progress, it is in very recent years that virtually the entire world has been engulfed in dictatorship in one form or another. But this could not have happened had petty tyranny not first started in the home, in the school, and above all, in the church. And this discordant rhythm, this vibratory response to pain, the desire to inflict pain on others, this sadism has come down to the world over 19 million years. This is the karma which is still with us and which must now be transmuted within a matter of a few years before the planet spirals into an orbit of higher vibrations. For in the cosmic order of things, the planet itself must now move forward, regardless of whether or not the population can stand the high vibratory rate of God's love for His children. That is the individual test that will come to each person in the near future. Can you or can you not live in peace and brotherhood with your fellow man? Can you or can you not free yourself from the desire to inflict pain on yourself and on others? Can you give up all pain, especially the pain of death and taxes?